So this is a different video, and it's not really about books, but it is about writing and art, and, I don't know what this video is, but apparently the algorithm just felt a disturbance in the force. A booktuber talking about something other than whether the latest overhyped romantic novel is worth the emotional investment. We're all adjusting here. But this is something I want to say out loud, and honestly I think some of you might relate to it. Until the end of 2024 I used to draw a lot, and I painted. I sold some of my work over the years, which feels strange to say out loud because there's something deeply surreal about someone handing you actual money for a thing you made, while you sat in your house looking vaguely feral and covered in paint. I wrote consistently too. You guys know this, but everyone new here, it wasn't just casual scribbling. It wasn't even close. I mean, proper writing. For years I was trying to be a published writer, building stories, working on ideas, obsessing over sentences, rewriting the same paragraph 17 times because apparently I enjoy suffering. Creating was just part of who I was. It was never really a question. It's what I just did, and then life happened. Most of you know what happened, right? My mum was diagnosed with terminal cancer at the end of 2024. And then I lost her at the end of 2025. I'm still recovering from that. And I don't think recovering is even the right word, if I'm honest. That makes it sound too neat. Like grief is a broken leg, 6 weeks in a cast, a bit of physio, back to normal. And anyone who's lost someone knows how that's not how it works. It changes, the landscape is constantly shifting. You don't recover as much as you learn to live in different terrain. Some days it's completely manageable. Some days you step on an emotional landmine because you hear her favourite song playing in a supermarket. Grief has absolutely no respect for timing. It doesn't care if you're trying to buy a loaf of bread. And somewhere in all of that, I stopped creating. Not at once. It wasn't like a big moment where I placed down a paintbrush while orchestral music swelled in the background. Because real life is not an indie movie. There's no tasteful lighting, no symbolic rain. So, probably just me sat there looking tired in bad socks. But I stopped. The drawing, the painting, writing fiction. That whole part of me just went quiet, and it's strange is that I miss it. Deeply. And by the way, I don't mean abstraction. Oh yeah, I once had a hobby sort of way. I miss the actual feeling of it. The moment where an idea starts taking shape, where a blank page stops being blank, where colour becomes something, where words suddenly click together and for 5 minutes your brain stops fighting itself. That feeling, that tiny, strange little spark that says, yes, this is it. This is what I'm supposed to be doing right now. I miss that. I tried to get it back. I really have. I sat down with pens, with watercolours, oil paints, opened documents, started stories, tried to force myself back into it, and nothing happens. It's like staring at a locked door. You know there's something on the other side. You know it. You just don't know how to use the key, or suddenly the lock has changed. And no matter how many times you try and get that lock open, nothing clicks. And it's frustrating. Because there's still the energy there. There's still this... That's the weird thing. It's not emptiness, it's blockage. Like... I don't even know what it is. There's... maybe creative constipation? There's your YouTube terminology of the day, people. You're welcome. But honestly, that's what it feels like. Like there's something there in your mind and it wants to move, it wants to come out. Something that wants to become, and it just doesn't. I have this belief, and yes, this is going to sound very Jewish. So do with it what you will. Creativity comes from creation itself. You don't wait for it. You meet it in the art. You create in order to create. That process generates the spark. That doing creates the ability to do. And I know that. Intellectually, I know that. Which somehow makes it more frustrating. Because knowing the theory and actually being able to sit down and do things is fundamentally different. It's like knowing exercise is good for you while looking at a treadmill like you've been personally insulted. Awareness does not automatically produce action. And I think grief does something strange to creativity. It redials the energy. When you're in survival mode, you're really surviving it. Your brain becomes practical, focused, protective. It starts asking one question over and over. What is necessary? And creativity unfairly often gets put under the non-essential folder. It gets boxed up, put on a shelf. And it's not because it doesn't matter, but because your mind is trying to keep the lights on. And maybe that's where I've been. Maybe some part of my brain still thinks we're in survival mode. Still conserving resources, still saying, not now, later, when it's safe. When there's room. And I think that's the hardest part, because I want that part of myself back. I miss being someone who could disappear into making something. I miss the weird little obsessions. The hours vanish, the total immersion. I miss caring about whether the line was right, whether the colour worked, whether a sentence landed. I miss I even miss hating everything I made. Which if you're creative, you completely understand this. That it's not self-loathing. It's more like staring at something you've made or reading it and thinking, well, that's 6 hours I'll never recover from. But even that was part of it. It meant I was engaged, trying, making. And I realised something. Maybe the mistake I've been making is trying to go back, trying to force myself into the exact creative person I was before any of this happened. Maybe that version of me isn't coming back. And that's not a tragedy, I mean it honestly. Loss changes you, time changes you, experiences change you. The person I was before my mum got sick is not the person sitting here talking into his knockoff Blue Yeti. And maybe expecting him just to reappear, pick up a pen, and carry on where he left off, maybe that's unrealistic. Maybe what has happened instead is something new. Maybe I'm trying not to rediscover old creativity. Maybe there's new creativity, different shades, different voice, different purpose. Maybe that's what this video really is, an attempt to do that, because this counts. This is creation too. Talking honestly. Trying to articulate something real. Building connection out of experience. This is still making something. It might not be painting, it's not a novel, but it's still an act of creation. Maybe that's where I start. Small, without expectations. Without trying to resurrect some idealized version of who I used to be. Just create where I am, and as I am now, I don't really have a nice conclusion to this. I wish I did. Like, people like YouTube conclusions, a story arc. Algorithms love closure. Nice, tidy emotional arcs. Preferably with uplifting background music and a thumbnail where I look thoughtfully in the middle distance. But real life is messy. And I don't know exactly how to get past this blockage. I don't know when drawing will come back, or writing fiction, or if they'll come back in the same way, or even at all. What I do know is that I miss creating enough to keep trying. Maybe enough right now? Maybe missing it is proof that it's still there, buried somewhere. Waiting. So I'm going to ask you, if you guys have ever been through this burnout, grief, disconnection, whatever shape it takes for you, and you felt that part of yourself go quiet, I want to know how you found your way back. Or are you still figuring it out too? Because I suspect there are a lot more people walking around carrying this than we realise. Anyway, that was my cheerful little existential crisis of the week. Maybe next week I'll go back to talking books, because apparently that's my brand. Though if I suddenly pivot into interpretive finger painting, just roll with it, and thanks for listening. I'm Darv James. That was the episode. Like, sub, tell me what you think, and if you want to support this channel, membership, Patreon, check out my written work on Substack. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.